With your help, we're going to win the South Carolina primary by a lot. We're up by about 50 points, but we don't want to take it for granted. Henry said never take anything for granted, right? But we're going to win that primary big. You know, we won the state twice by record numbers, literally record numbers, and we're going to do it again. We did phenomenally here. We've always done well here, and we're going to do it at a level that nobody's ever seen. So we broke the record twice. We're going to break it a third time. We're going to break our own record. So less than 5 months from now, we're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make America great again. So we've come today to the perfect place to talk about how we're going to end the economic catastrophe known as Bidenomics. You know, he thought that was good. It was meant to be bad. It was originally done in the financial pages to talk about how bad it was, and he said, oh, I love the name. I love the name. So now he goes around and he talks about it like it's good. It's really bad. And I spoke to the incredible owners of Sportsman, and they would tell me, so different now than it was just 3 years ago. Sportsman and other boat builders across the state exemplify the American manufacturing muscle. Incredible how big a boat business it is in this state that will help turn the Biden economic bust into another Trump economic boom. That's what you had. You had the greatest boom in history, most successful economy in history. Under my leadership, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. In fact, we did it twice, if you remember. We had to do it twice, and now we're going to do it a third time, but it's going to be bigger, better, stronger than ever before. Ever before. But we had the greatest economy in the history, really, of the world. And then COVID came in, and we had to do it again. And we did a great job with COVID. Nobody knew what the hell it was. And we did a great job, and then we handed it over after a horrible, horrible, we got many millions of more votes. I was told if you got the same number, 63 million, you win easily. And we got millions and millions more. We got the most votes of any sitting president in history. And they say we lost the election. I don't think so. Terrible, terrible what's going on between bad elections and open borders, what's going on in our country. And that's almost the least of it. You could go through point after point. There's nothing good happening. In 4 short years, we passed the largest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We cut more job-killing regulations, your boat companies and every other company would tell you that, than any administration in history. Broke every record. We slashed the price of gasoline down to $1.87 per gallon. We created 20,000 manufacturing jobs right here in South Carolina. We delivered $140 million to ensure that Charleston has the deepest water port on the East Coast. Henry would drive me crazy. Sir, we need that money. Right, Henry? He'd call me and say, sir, we got to make that the deepest port. I was only surprised. You say the East Coast. Don't you want to also include the West Coast? That'll be next. He's got that idea, I can tell you. But you have the deepest on the East Coast now, and that was a big deal, and it was a great job, and the governor did a great job in getting it done, and everybody else who helped. These are just a few of the reasons your boat-building industry exploded and prospered like never before, and it was all under President Trump, and it was my honor. It now generates over $6 billion a year and employs 26,000 South Carolina workers. Think of that. And I'm very honored to say that my last 2 years, 2019 and 2020, were the best 2 years that South Carolina boat builders and South Carolina business has ever had. Is that right, Ed? Ever had. Every single major boat manufacturer in this state expanded their operations during the Trump administration. There wasn't one that went down even a little bit. They all went big. They went very big. They couldn't make them fast enough. When I left office, business was roaring like a 400-horsepower Mercury outboard motor. I just looked at them. They are seriously good looking. But then the economy slammed into a pile of rocks known as Crooked Joe Biden. Crooked Joe. We used to call him Sleepy Joe. Now we call him Crooked Joe. I took it away from Crooked Hillary. That was a good day when I took it. She had the best day. I think she celebrated that night. Now we call her Beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. Crooked Joe's inflation crisis has raised costs for small businesses like this one by more than 20% already, and it's going much higher. Biden's energy crisis has hurt sales by nearly tripling the cost to fill up a sportsman's 355-gallon gas tank. Think of that, 3 times higher. Soaring interest rates, which is even a worse problem, make boat loans much more expensive, makes it very hard for people to buy boats, and all of this horrible stuff is happening against your incredible American worker. Under Biden, household incomes have been crushed by nearly $7,400 a year. Does anyone know that? Marjorie, did you know that? Under Trump, incomes increased by more than $8,000 a year with no inflation. We didn't have inflation. A vote for crooked Joe Biden is a vote for inflation, taxation, submission, and failure. That's what it is. A vote for Trump is a vote for more jobs, higher wages, and more boats, cars, trucks, and airplanes stamped, made in America and made in South Carolina. Here are some of the first steps I'll take to rescue our workers, manufacturers, and small businesses from the burning wreckage of Bidenomics as soon as we get back into the Oval Office. We got to get back fast. I tell you, if we don't get back, I really believe this country is finished. I really believe it. I hate to say that. It's horrible. And Marjorie's nodding her head, and Henry's nodding his head, so I can't be the only one that thinks that. But I think this country will be finished. They're destroying our country so stupidly, so evilly. To rapidly reduce inflation, I will end Joe Biden's war on American energy and reclaim energy independence. 3 years ago, we were totally energy independent, heading over to energy dominance, right, Russell? For our next term, I've set the ambitious goal of achieving the #1 lowest cost of energy and electricity anywhere in any major industrial nation on Earth, and we'll be there within 6 months. In other words, we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling. We're going to be drilling like we were drilling. For decades, politicians like Crooked Joe viciously betrayed South Carolina workers. You know that. Look at what's happened to your state in the last few years. Short time ago, you had the best numbers you've ever had, and now they're rapidly coming down. Rapidly, like nobody's ever seen before. Has nothing to do with you. It has to do with people that are very stupid people, and I think very evil people in the White House. Your state lost 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs after Biden supported the NAFTA disaster and China's entrance into the WTO. That was a long time ago, but it showed his thinking. It was a disaster. The World Trade Organization, a disaster. China took advantage of everybody for years. I've been speaking about it for a long time, and I did a lot about it when I got into office. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars. Not one president got 10 cents from China. I got hundreds of billions of dollars from China. They weren't too happy with me. Hence